right, everybody, welcome back. It's your boy D Friend. We back with another episode of the D Friend Show. Today, you already know, last night Drake pushed the album back, so I did a little bit of streaming of the album, but then I realized I was a little bit tired to really be reacting to an album, no matter who it is, right? Drake, Kendrick, Kanye, no matter who it was, my body was telling me, you're tired, take your ass to bed, regroup in the morning. So I'm going to give my first reaction to the first couple of songs that I listened to, and then I'm going to get into how I feel about the album with about 2 more listens to it right now. And we also got some takes from Trae Young that he got kind of pushback for on social media as far as Drake and Jay-Z. And we also got some other things, Boosie, Lil Nas X, Candace Owens getting banned. A bunch of other things we got to get into as well. So before we get into that, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure on the post notifications so you know every single time that I post here on the channel as well. You go to SoundCloud, Spotify, and iTunes to listen to the audio-only versions of the podcast over there. So I'm not going to waste no time. Let's just get right into it. So Certified Lover Boy drops. This is the track listing with the features on it. And as a Drake fan, I said this plenty of times before the album dropped, I've said a lot of times I listen to certain Drake projects that aren't like super like high-paced, high-tempo rap and shit. And it'll take me a little while to really warm up to it, really get the feel for what he's trying to do, really, just get into the vibe of the album. So that's how it started off for me. When I heard Champagne Poetry the first time, I was kind of like, all right, I get it. He's rapping, storytelling, doing his thing. But for some reason, that sample that was in the background was just irritating me. And like I said, I don't think I'm ever going to do late night, first time album reactions anymore because first of all, I don't feel like that's a good way to listen and judge music. Just off the first listen, I feel like maybe you do it by yourself. Maybe just sit at the crib, put it on the speaker, do it like that. Maybe you go to your car, you listen to it in your car. People that go to the gym and listen, whatever they do. I just don't feel like sitting in front of a group of people for your first album reaction to something is where you should do it. Only because, and this is just me, other people do it differently. Other people are great at doing it. But I feel like when you're doing it, you're still going to have to try to entertain. And at that point, I just want to listen to the music. I just want to sit here, listen to it, and do it like that. So I don't know if I'm going to do that anymore unless I do it with other people. That's the only way I think I would do it. But anyways, Champagne Poetry, on the second and third listen, I get it. I like the sample, the bars, the flows, the introspection, all that shit is great. And then we got Poppy's Home. That track, I liked it because it's somebody being like braggadocious, boastful, like, y'all my sons, sorry I left y'all behind. The sample, I don't even know if that was Charlie Wilson, but it sounded like a Charlie Wilson sample in the beginning. I'm sorry, I wasn't, your daddy was gone, he wasn't here, but daddy's home, I'm here, I like that. Girls Want Girls featuring Lil Baby, fire. Lil Baby did what Lil Baby does. Drake did what he did, especially with this. I think this is the record where when Drake has a certain tone in his voice when he sings, that's the type of singing Drake that I like. I believe it's Girls Want Girls. I'm not sitting here giving you a full length, like detailed thing because I said I've only listened to it probably like 2-3 times at this point already. Then we got In the Bible featuring Lil Durk and Giveon. Honestly, the most memorable part of this song that I can remember off the top of my head is Lil Durk's part. I was disappointed in the Giveon thing only because I was expecting the Giveon to be like the Giveon from Chicago Freestyle. And that might be my fault. Just, sometimes you put too high of expectations on certain things, and when they're not what you think they're going to be, they kind of dwindle down, but it doesn't make it bad. But you place too high of an expectation on something, and that's not what it was. He wasn't giving me Giveon from Chicago Freestyle. He wasn't giving me Giveon from, that's kind of a fun, Giveon's not giving me, but anyways, from, what's the song he has? A Heartbreak Anniversary? Like, he wasn't giving me that Giveon, so maybe that's just my fault. I should just went into it with no expectations and seen where it took me. And then we got Love All featuring Jay-Z. So Love All was a song that's already been leaked, and I feel like it was called something else with the leak. Because even when I was watching Academic Stream pre me going to listen to it, he played the record like it was a leak. But now they added Jay-Z to it. And Jay-Z is talking to somebody on this record. I don't know who Jay-Z is talking to on this record, but he's talking to somebody. People kept trying to say he's talking to Kanye. I don't know where people get Kanye from. He was literally just on the album with Kanye. If anything, I would say he's more speaking to somebody like a Dame Dash who just keeps like bringing his name up, or people bring up his name and then things get said, this and that. I would think he's more speaking about a Dame Dash when he's saying things like, you talking all that tough gangster shit, we can get you touched, this and that. I feel like he's talking more of a Dame Dash. We can destroy your career. All these things he's talking about, I would feel like, unless it's somebody we don't know behind the scenes, it is directed at somebody like a Dame Dash. Then there's Fair Trade. The lyrics that everybody is pulling from Fair Trade, because everybody, everybody's super emotional. They feel the lyrics, it's speaking to them. When Drake says, trading, or I've been gaining more peace as I lost friends. Seems like a fair trade. That's a good like motivational quote. You might see it on a picture one day. You'll see it that's about to be the caption of the rest of the year. Everybody's gonna be captioning that, but they didn't lose any friends. But that's gonna be everybody's caption. They haven't gained peace. They haven't lost any friends. But that is gonna be their caption just because it just looks like something that speaks to most people. Even though, like I said, most of them are not gaining peace, and most of them are not really losing friends. But that'll be the caption. So then we have what is to me to seem to be the single that he's trying to push, which is what Way Too Sexy. Hot New Hip Hop, I spelled it wrong. Way Too Sexy featuring Future and Young Thug. Now, one thing I do get from this project, from Drake, is that there's not one song that I could look at on this album and be like, that is going to be his big record. That's going to be his big single. And typically, he already has that big single, big record that's out. And then there might be one or two that come from the album. But I can't pinpoint which ones on this album will become them big, huge hit singles. Honestly, I just can't. Not off 2 or 3 listens. I just can't find it. And I was surprised, honestly, that he didn't put Laugh Now, Cry Later on here. That's where I thought the Lil Durk feature was going to come in at. I thought it was going to be Laugh Now, Cry Later featuring Lil Durk, and that was going to be Lil Durk's placement on the album. But he decided to use Lil Durk in a different way on In the Bible. And also to point out, on In the Bible, people might look at it as, what do they call it? It's not shady marketing, but they call it something. I just can't think of it at the moment. Lil Durk shouting out his girlfriend's cosmetic line on Drake is probably the biggest billboard that she will ever be on in her life. And he mentioned in the song, like, hey, this shit probably gonna get 1 billion streams. So, hey, India Royale Cosmetics, we in this thing. So, for a rapper to even think about his girl in that moment, I gotta salute Lil Durk on that one as well. So then we get TSU. We talking about Texas Southern, not Tennessee State, not that bullshit. TSU. I went to TSU for like two years of my college time. So salute to everybody that went to TSU. Labor Day Classic is this week. And so it just gives TSU a little bit more drive going into the Labor Day Classic week. And that was a good song. I like the samples that he used in the beginning. I like that was a good song. I'm not gonna really get, like I said, I'm not here to get too deep into it. I've only listened like 2 times, but I'm just letting you know which songs I liked when I listened to it in the beginning. In Too Deep with Future. Off first listen, it wasn't too memorable. I didn't really go back to it. I haven't really listened to it that much since. It probably is a good record once I listen to it a little bit more times. But off first listen only, it wasn't the one that I was running to go listen to. Same with Pipe Down. Same with, Yeba's Heartbreak was for Yeba. He's giving, I don't know who paid for this time slot. I don't know who asked for it. And there's no disrespect to Yeba because she sounds beautiful on the record. But this is like when he gave Georgia Smith her interlude. Hopefully Yeba don't do Drake like Georgia allegedly did Drake. And through the album is trash. See, I'm gonna let you. That's your opinion. I'm just letting people start having their opinions. You think the album's trash? God bless, brother. That's what you think. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Music is subjective. Cause I saw a lot of comparisons to Donda going on social media. Like we knew there was gonna be. But if you think it's trash, brother, then hey, there's probably plenty more music out there for you to listen to this week, next week, any time of the year. But anyways, No Friends in the Industry. That was a good song. Knife Talk. 21 Savage did what 21 Savage does. 21 Savage really doesn't miss. Like I said, I don't think 21 Savage gets the appreciation that he should get. Yeah, he's not the most lyrical. Maybe he doesn't have the greatest flows. Maybe he's a little bit, unorthodox. But when 21 Savage is on your record, most times, 9 times out of 10, maybe in his recent run, 10 out of 10, 21 Savage will deliver on your record. And Drake's Part 2 was also good as well. Then I feel like this is when we started getting into peak Drake. Like this is peak Drake. Whenever you see a time next to a location, that shit is about to get real. When you see that time next to that location, you know it's getting deep, you know it's getting real, and you know shots will be fired at whoever is within his aim at this moment in time. And that obviously happened to be Kanye West. And I do want to play, not play it because you know how they'll do. They'll take it down expeditiously. But I do want to read the disses that people are saying are aimed toward Kanye, and they make sense to be aimed towards Kanye anyway. So is this right here? Here is the 7 a.m. on Bridal Path Kanye West diss. So that's the thing I accept. You over there in denial. We not neck to neck. So he's not saying we're not in the same league. Like you keep saying we're in the same like area in the same arena. At this point in our careers, we're not in the same arena, right? And I think I'm gonna save my first reaction, Donda versus first reaction, Certified Lover Boy, for this Saturday. I believe Absolute Sure Podcast, we're going to do another live stream where we're going to be breaking down the album, discussing the album. Most likely we'll get into the comparisons between Donda and Certified Lover Boy. But in no way, shape, or form do I think that off first listen that Certified Lover Boy is leaps and bounds above Donda. I don't think that Donda was a good, well put together album. But my point was, in comparing only Kanye to Drake, they are doing different things on their albums. Kanye is more center focused on production, getting people on there. Obviously, he's rapping on there. Obviously, he has a couple melodies, but his center focus is probably just to put out a good body of work with whoever he could put on there. Drake is going to be the center focus of his album. So when I say let's compare the two people, that's a different conversation. But we want to just compare the two albums as sonically, how do they sound? We can do that as well, and we will be doing that on Saturday. But anyways, you're over there in denial. We not neck to neck. It's been a lot of years since we've seen you coming correct. Man, fuck it, respectfully, I just want my respect. So that's clearly a shot at Justin LaBoy because, I mean, Drake's been tweeting shit about, not tweeting shit, but he's been like posting shit about Justin LaBoy when Justin LaBoy will like get into his comment section or something like that. He'll be like, just like, get the fuck out of here, weirdo. Not those terms, but something along those lines like that. So that's clearly a Justin LaBoy thing. Because Justin LaBoy was also the guy who was hyping up Kanye's album. Like, it's the greatest shit we've ever heard. He's giving you all the updates. Katie approves of it. Like, he was giving all the updates for the Kanye album. So I feel like that's where the shot at Justin LaBoy comes in at. They tried to label me mean. I said what I mean. People that could have stayed on the team, they played in between. Clouds is hanging over you now because I'm reigning supreme. Some of these niggas say what they mean. It ain't what it seems. Had to pull my niggas out the mud like I'm training Marines. You niggas hot to them little kids. You ain't famous to me. Told you I'm aiming straight to the head. Okay? And I promise you, if you think it doesn't sound that great, it sounds a lot better when Drake raps it, not when I rap it. But anyways, that's why your people not believers. They are leaving you. That's why you buying into the hype that press is feeding you. You know the fourth level of jealousy is called media. Isn't that an ironic revelation? Get that address to your driver, make it your destination. So he said, pull up on me. If you're going to put out my address, you pull up. Don't put it out there for the internet. Don't let, I like that. If you're going to put my shit out there, you know where I live, you got an issue, pull up on me. Pull up. And we already know they know where each other live. We know Drake is 4 houses down from King because Kanye said it. We know he's 4 houses down from the Kanye West former, I don't know if they're still together, working out, whatever. But they live in the same vicinity. Honestly, like even the surface level shit that we see between Kanye and Drake, we see Drake say it stems from he gave him that beat for something he gave him, and then Kanye dropped it and he just threw scoopity poopity doopity on there. He gave away information about Drake having a kid to Pusha T, which honestly is the only reason that the Pusha T thing is so well received is because of that information. Like you might have thought there were some cool bars within it, but the only thing people talk about is the kid thing. Let's just be honest. So there's that. But I really feel like there's something else driving these two men to not see eye to eye. And maybe it is just the competition of music. Maybe that's just what it is. But like I said, I think these two guys are on two different playing fields, but they're definitely two different eras because you got to think Kanye's peak, people would say, will be My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. And then people, media-wise, I don't know about fans. I'm not going to put this on fans, but in the media, the push to Kanye was Yeezus wasn't that great. Then what was after Yeezus? Life of Pablo. I think Life of Pablo was after Yeezus. I could be missing something in between there. But Life of Pablo happens, and then the Ye album happens, and then the Jesus album happens, and now we got Donda. So people say this is like a downward skid for Kanye. And I've already said I like a lot of them projects that Kanye dropped after my Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. But when Kanye dropped in 2010, Drake was on his way to ascension, right? Thank Me Later was already out. Take Care dropped 2011, which solidified Drake, like really solidified him. But also, Kendrick dropped in 2011. J. Cole was dropping Born Sinner in 2013. When Kanye dropped Yeezus, a lot of people think Born Sinner is better than Yeezus. So Drake is in a timeline where he's running with his people. That's like, and I'm going to use basketball terms, that's like, let's say LeBron, D-Wade, and Carmelo are in the same draft class, but as they get older, are they really competing against, I'll give him Michael Jordan. They're not competing against him. Michael may have been, I want to use Kobe, but basketball, they start so goddamn young, and they can play so long that I can't really use Kobe and LeBron as a theme because they are and were direct competitors in the league. But I'm trying to find a scenario where I'm saying, like, yeah, Kobe was there, but at this point we're looking at LeBron, KD, and Steph. Can I use that? Can I say Cole, Kendrick, and Drake are Braun, KD, and Steph Curry? And yes, Kobe is there. Yes, Kobe even won a championship in 2010. But after that, Kobe may have been great, but his team wasn't, he had a couple injuries. That's what I'm trying to compare to, right? They're not even in the same thing. I don't know who was even in Kanye's thing because even the people that he was going up when he was going against 50, he was just bouncing leaps ahead of them niggas. So I guess the only people you really can compare him to is somebody in the newer class, which would be Drake. So I get it. But anyways, let's continue with the Bridal Street diss. So get the address to your driver, make it your destination. Instead of just a post out of desperation. So he said, you just did that because you was desperate. I said something about you. And the betrayal diss wasn't even like a super like disrespectful. Just, you 44, you bust down, whatever he called him. I don't know if he said he got bust down, but he called him something. He's like washed up, essentially. This is me reaching the deepest state of my meditation. Why you over there trying to impress the nation? Mine's running wild with the speculation. Why the fuck we peacemaking, doing the explanation? If we just going to be right back in that bitch without hesitation. But let me digress on behalf of the whatever. So pretty much, why are we even trying to have these peaceful meetings when we know literally a couple months later, either you gonna say some shit or you gonna get offended by some shit I did, and we're gonna be right back beefing. And we know Kanye's been watching Drake. Like I said, he said it. Without Drake, there probably would have been no Watch the Throne because Drake was putting so much pressure on the industry at that time. Kanye has been looking at Drake for the longest time because Kanye's thing is he is the greatest artist of all time. That's Kanye's thing. That's his mantra. You could debate it. Is he? Is he not? Who knows? He is one of the greatest. I don't know if he is the greatest of all time. And then people starting to crown Drake. His run has been 10 years long. His run has been immaculate. And Kanye West, as I would assume, I don't want to put diagnosis on people, but I would assume as a narcissist, hearing that somebody else is way greater than you, hearing that someone makes better music than you, seeing the person rack up accolades after accolades. Maybe he doesn't have as many Grammys. That's true. Drake does not have as many Grammys as Kanye, but people, they shiesty on the Grammys. But as far as #1 records, billions of streams, even though, Kanye wasn't on the early end of the streaming era, but he is in the streaming era now, Drake is that guy solidified. He's been on a run since 2009, like undeniable. Now, could you say that Drake isn't making as great a music as he used to? Yeah, I don't think this album is better than, and granted, this is only off like 2 to 2.5 listens. This isn't like some well thought out process, but if we're looking at first reactions, oh, my bad. I said, what's Jay? So Jay would be Michael Jordan, if we want to say that, right? Jay in his era will be Michael Jordan. But the thing with music is, music doesn't really have a timestamp on it, especially if people still like you. Because you got to think, Jay-Z dropped 444 in 2018, and that was considered one of the best albums of the year. So it's kind of hard to compare to basketball in that aspect of it, because Michael Jordan wouldn't have been playing when LeBron was on the top of his game, and he would have still been on the top of his game as well. So it's kind of hard to compare basketball players, especially within the times they played. But I tried my best to do it that way. But this was the Kanye dig. And I don't know because, like I said, Kanye's team said there'll be consequences if Drake drops some kind of Kanye diss. But I feel like this is a legitimate shot. Because he said, like, you when you threaten my seed, because you got to think, when you drop somebody's location like that, even if Drake's address is publicly known, he lives in Toronto. I'm sure people have seen the construction on that street. I'm sure people know where Drake lives that live in Toronto. It's probably on the internet. But when a super mega famous person brings attention to your address, it's a different level of something. And even with the even with Drake, salute to Drake, he did a salute to Mercedes Moore on his album, like in the little message thing. He was like, R.I.P. to Nydia Natuli. I think I'm getting her name right. Nydia Natuli and Miss Mercedes Moore. But think about it like that. Mercedes Moore, even though she was OnlyFans girl, she was doing whatever y'all think she was doing. She's still a famous person. Someone came to her house and they broke in. We don't know who's overly obsessed with Drake and would try to find a way to break into his home. Now, I'm sure Drake got top-notch security. Motherfuckers at the back gate, front gate, dogs, this and that. I'm sure it's very well guarded. But like I said, you never know what type of danger you could be putting somebody in by leaking their address. You just don't know. Even look closely at Kanye's family. Kanye's family has Kendall Jenner, and she's having a person been stalking her forever. He shows up to her house. He breaks in through the back gate. There's people breaking into these famous people's houses. Don't get it twisted. If there is a will, there is a way. So I think that was very irresponsible of Kanye. Even if it doesn't matter. Like, people are like, oh, you post and delete, bro. If a famous person, especially at Kanye's level, posts something, it don't matter if he deletes it. It doesn't matter what he does. People have already screenshot it. People have already shared it. The blogs have already ran it. It's out there, and people have seen it. So I get why Drake went on this bridal path with Kanye. So anyways, then we got Race My Mind. So I literally looked over Race My Mind the first time I listened, because I ain't gonna lie. Once I got to 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, I was in my chair like this with the phone on my chest, and I was falling asleep. Not because I was boring, just because I was sleepy. It was like, what, like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning? But anyways, when I listened to Race My Mind just now recently, that song, it just brings me back to the old Drake, like the double beat switches. Like, it was just an amazing work of art. Fountains, I don't really remember. I got to listen to it a little bit more. Get Along Better, don't really remember it. I think I've skipped these two just because of this next verse. Track 18, You Only Live Twice. Two of my favorite artists on the track, Drake, Rick Ross, and then there's Lil Wayne, who's also like a favorite. He's a legend. You can't even deny it. But the way Lil Wayne is the standout of this track, because Lil Wayne just did what Lil Wayne, it's like so surgical. And that sounds so corny. Oh, God, that sounded so corny. It's so surgical when he raps. But I don't know, it was like surgical. It was like if I'm watching a heart surgeon completely take out an aorta, wrap it up, put it in a bag, do this, save it. Oh, shit, they're dying. Grabbing their heart, pumping it, and then popping it in, and they back to life. That's what it was like listening to Lil Wayne destroy this beat, and it was amazing. So that's my first reaction. Also, I also did listen to the Remorse, and because Drake usually on that last song, like that 7 a.m. on Bridal Path usually be like that last song back. Like, you can guarantee two things is life. Well, I don't even know what the thing is that they say you can guarantee two things in life, but you can guarantee a couple things with Drake. You can guarantee that if you get a motherfucking time and a location on a track, it's gonna be fire. And you could damn sure believe that last track on any Drake album is gonna be an amazing closeout, and that's what the Remorse was. But I'm gonna listen to it. 21 tracks on the album. 21 tracks on the album. But like I said, I'm going to obviously listen to it many more. I don't know how many times, but many more times before tomorrow, honestly, when we're going to be back live, Absolute Sure Podcast. We're going to be breaking down the album, discussing it, and things of that nature. So let's get into something that happened on Twitter. So Trae Young, the young Atlanta Hawks superstar basketball player, got into a little bit of Twitter heat because he just obviously Certified Lover Boys. Album could have been shorter. A lot of albums could be shorter. Like, they're doing it for streaming. They're trying to throw 21. Like a lot of these artists, like a Drake, Kanye, like the artists who make great albums, could benefit from making albums shorter. Because you got to think, if Drake cuts us down to 12 songs, Because I've seen a lot of people's critiques are, there's probably 12 songs that I really fuck with. There's probably 13 songs that I really fuck with. Even like Kanye's project, there's like 8 songs that I really, really fuck with. And then there's probably like 15 to 14 that are like good. So like Kanye, if he dropped it to 14, you would think that's like a perfect solidified album. With Drake, there's a couple filler tracks in there as well. So I think a lot of people could benefit from having shorter albums, but they're looking at the numbers. They want the streaming numbers to be up. So the more music you got, the more streams you'll accumulate as well. So that's why they do that type of shit. I guess I get it, but also sometimes in the eyes of critiques and criticism, when you give me more and they're not all on par, it'll be easier to critique and kind of tear down your album. But anyways, like I was saying, Trae Young got on Twitter and he said some kind of blasphemy that cannot be said when it comes to hip hop. And I don't agree with this, but this is what people say. This is their blasphemy. So Twitter wants Trae Young drug tested after unbelievable Drake and Jay-Z hot take. While hip hop fans wait for the inevitable video of LeBron lip syncing over the most popular tracks from Drake's Certified Lover Boy, another basketball star has filled that void with a wild Drake related take. Trae Young, the star player for the Atlanta Hawks, has been reacting to Drake's 6th studio album in real time, and it's safe to say that he has enjoyed it so far. In fact, Ice Trae has enjoyed Certified Lover Boy so much that he unleashed a hot take for the ages. There's even a hot take for the ages, bro. People always say this. This isn't like a crazy, like I hate, and let me read it. Claiming that Drizzy has officially surpassed Jay-Z as the GOAT. So this is what he really said. Yo, when we going to say Drake has passed Hove? He just asked a question. He put it out there. So people saying Trae Young, when Hove dropped the blueprint, he was a little baby. That does look very eerily similar to Trae Young. Why Trae loved taunting New York? Obviously, he was fucking with the Knicks in the playoffs this year. Someone said never. This man has laser focus on trolling New York. Stop it. Donovan Mitchell said stop it. Somebody else said never. Trae Young's dad said that to him. He said never. Trae Young decided to become a main character on Twitter this morning. Trae getting dragged on TL. What a shame. Trae Young is enjoying being the greatest New York villain since Jose Altuve. Hey, Trae, can you delete this, please? Anyways, that was his take. I don't know how people act like that could be such a blasphemous take. Like, are we going to act like Drake hasn't positioned himself to be in a certain conversation against somebody like Hove? Now, if your critique is, hey, we found the ghostwrite references from If You're Reading This Too Late, he disqualified from that GOAT talk, he'll never pass over because of that. Okay, if that's the way you look at it, then okay, I can. If that's your assessment, we don't want no ghostwriting ever. Jay-Z has never been exposed for having a ghostwriter. If that's your angle, then yes. But we're talking about strictly the domination of music, the skill of making music. It is in no realm a hot take or blasphemous to say that Drake could surpass Jay-Z at any point. I think he is at that point. There's no way that you could think that that's blasphemous, especially coming from a guy like Trae Young, who is young. Especially from a guy like Trae Young, who is young. You know what? I'll be right back. Hold here. I'll be right back. I got to go do something. Be back in a second. right, so I'm back. Something happened. I had to go handle some business. But anyways, my point was that Trae Young is young. And if a guy like Trae Young was to say that he thinks that Drake is better than Jay-Z, that is not a wild and salacious hot take. He grew up in the Drake era. Maybe, actually, he might not have grew up in the Drake era because not 21, what's his name? Trae Young is probably like, 20 years old? And you got to think, I'm 27, so if Trae Young's 20, he's 7 years behind me. When Drake came out in 2011, I was in high school. Well, he didn't come out in 2011, but let's say Take Care, The Pinnacle dropped in 2011. Trae Young had to be what, like 6, 7? So he probably wasn't even on the Drake wave, really. But for somebody young to say that somebody is better than somebody else, that is not blasphemous. Now, maybe you get one of these old heads who lived the Jay-Z era and they go out and they say Jay-Z has lost it, Drake is better. People probably get on him because you lived the Jay-Z era, you did this, but there is in no way blasphemous or a hot take for anybody to even utter the words that Drake could be better than Jay-Z at this moment. Now, is Jay-Z great? Yes. But also when you get to those levels of greatness, when you get to those guys who are at the top of upper echelon rappers, entertainers, and music makers, there isn't really too much that separates them guys that are at the top. There's not so much room that, let's say, like, even whoever you say is better. You say Kendrick is better than Drake. It's not a miles and miles of distance between those two. If I say Drake is better than Kendrick, now there's miles and miles of catalog between the two. But as far as talent goes, I can't sit here and say that Drake is just miles and miles ahead of Kendrick or miles and miles ahead of Jay-Z. Maybe if we're going to bring in the whole thing, the singing and the rapping, yeah. But we're just going to talk about rapping. I would never say that Drake is leaps and bounds way better than anybody that's rapping. Even somebody like J. Cole, I would never say he's way better. Do I think he's better? Yes, but not way better. So I don't even think that's a blasphemous statement, especially coming from somebody that is young, like Trae Young is. I just don't get the backlash on Twitter. But, you know, you can't really say nothing about Jay-Z because when Jay-Z come out, he do his thing. He go back in the cave. He pop out again with another crazy verse. And then he go back to making billions of dollars. So the respect is there for somebody like Jay-Z. But I just don't like when somebody that's young says this, they get blasted like there's no way that this could be possible. No way that Drake could be past Jay-Z ever in life. There's no way. 12 years. None. There's no way he could have that spot. But music is a gladiator sport, and people like who they like, and people don't like who they don't like. So it's going to continue to go like that. But I think I'm going to wrap it up right here. I had a couple of things, like I said in the beginning. I had to get to Boosie. I had to get to the Candace Owens talk, but I might save that for tomorrow. And I also might just give another update on my further listening to Certified Lover Boy tomorrow as well. But I just want to get on here, give you guys a live stream, a little podcast episode. Just get her talk it up, see what people think. Some people think, this person right here, Latoya Down, said, I meant, yeah, Drake is at that point. I was born in 83, and as of 2021, Drake is better than Jay-Z. To me, that's respectable. That's not nothing crazy. That's not a hot take. She maybe enjoys the way that Drake makes music or the way Drake raps more than Jay-Z at this point in her life. So I don't think that's a crazy hot take. But let me know what you guys think about the album in the comment section down below. Let me know if you think about Certified Lover Boy. Off the first couple listens, where do you place? I don't know. Where do you place? It's kind of hard to place it. It's so early. We've only really given it 2 whole listens. But just let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I'll see you guys later on with more podcasts.